Is diversification the answer to expanding your financial coast, or this just diversifies your current state? In our video today, we look at some of the most poignant financial lessons derived from the godfather of financial education, Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Toru Kiyosaki, born on 8 April 1947, is the founder of Global LLC and the Rich Dad Company, a private financial education company that provides personal finance and business advice to people through books and videos. He is also the creator of the Cashflow board and software games to educate adults and children about business and financial concepts. At a staggering net worth of $100 million, the author of more than 26 books, including the international self-published personal finance Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which has been translated into 51 languages and sold over 41 million copies, has been described by many as one of the leaders and most influential financial educators in the world. Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks about Kiyosaki's rich dad who happened to be the father of his friend, an entrepreneur who was financially literate, and his biological father who was an intelligent educationist but lacked financial literacy. With several people testifying about the impact of his financial educational sessions, what are some of the key things we can learn from him? Kiyosaki's assertion that formal education cannot be relied upon and does not equate to financial literacy has been reiterated time and time again. According to him, because schools don't offer finance education, they teach you that a diploma is everything. He says, "I took my rich dad's advice, and from a very young age, I learned that the promise of higher education, going to a good school for success, was one of the biggest scams and scams that school will make you a success, is perpetrated everywhere. Gaining financial smarts, however, is what will make you rich." It has been realized that though the educational system is designed to offer formal knowledge to students, it does less in equipping them on how to manage their finances in the future or how to be financially free. Inadequacy in providing students with the required financial skills needed for the outside world is not the only challenge Kiyosaki has with the school system. Formal education, he believes, instills another negative mindset in students, and we will look at what this is shortly. This one right here is one of our favorites: focus. Robert Kiyosaki is a staunch advocate of sticking to one thing at a time, and that is how he coined his famous "follow one course until successful," also known as focus. In recent times, other financial advisors have drummed the idea of diversification in business and in your money for a more successful financial life. However, Kiyosaki indicates that his rich dad called that diversify because diversification is only good for the average investor. At the time, Warren Buffett was the richest man in the world, and he didn't diversify. Kiyosaki is known to have said, "If the richest man in the world doesn't diversify, why is everybody else recommending you diversify?" The financial educator has deemed it more important to be focused on one idea and the development on the said idea until it becomes a success. So, the idea of developing or creating several businesses and ideas for success at the same time has been debunked by the godfather of financial education. One major lesson you can learn from the godfather of financial education is allowing money to work for you. Seems pretty odd when most people are used to working for money instead of the other way around. The reason the rich don't work for money is number one, expensive tax. Robert Kiyosaki famously said, "If you learn never to work for money, you'll be a rich man." And that is why Chapter 1 of his Rich Dad, Poor Dad book talks about the fact that most people have been programmed from the home, school, church, and society in general to go to school and work very hard for money. But the reality is that is only teaching you to have an employee mindset. For him, a job should be taken for the experience and not for the money, because getting paid for what you do makes you enjoy being a worker for someone else. You should work for knowledge and work to learn, but never because you are addicted to money. If expensive taxation is one of the reasons why the rich don't work for me, then understanding the taxing system must be very important. Why? Don't forget to subscribe down below as we move to lesson number 4. Another important lesson you can learn from Rich Dad, Poor Dad's Robert Kiyosaki is never to be afraid of losses. Citing Henry Ford, who made losses 5 times, Steve Jobs, who was fired by his own board, Bill Gates, who was taken to the Supreme Court for monopolistic practices, and Donald Trump, who lost $1 billion. It is evident that no successful person is afraid of making losses. Losses come and go, and of course, while they last, you need to ride through them. Instead of fearing that you might make a major loss, why don't you take that huge leap of faith and make the decision you need to make now? He says that school punishes you for making mistakes, so already the average person sees himself to be a complete failure when they make losses, and that is one of the main challenges he has with the schooling system. Then finally, what you can learn from Robert Kiyosaki and most other successful people is the essence of understanding the tax code. His Rich Dad Cashflow Quadrant is quite helpful in understanding this. In the quadrant, we have EBSI, which stands for employees, business owner, self-employed, and investor. He reveals that those in the B and I quadrant have nearly unlimited means to reduce their tax burdens because of the IRS codes, which are written as incentives for the B and I quadrant activity. Owning a business or being an investor is more likely to offer you tax reliefs than any other parts of the quadrant. What has been most outstanding for you out of the lessons we have discussed today? Let us know in the comments section down below. We'll see you again, and until then, enjoy the rest of your time.